Hello everyone. In the last video, I explained the simple concepts, the basic concepts of a spread spectrum, and we use PN sequence generators there to generate the PN sequence, and it is used to spread the bandwidth. Spread spectrum means spreading the spectrum or the bandwidth of the original message signal into the very large bandwidth and transmitting the signal with a low power. That's what we understood in my last video. Now here in this video, I'm going to explain the basic model diagram, digital communication system model diagram of spread spectrum, and also the first method of spread spectrum, that is called DSSS, that is direct sequence spread spectrum. Now, this is the basic model of a spread spectrum digital communication system. So you know digital communication system, what exactly it consists of. It consists of a channel encoder. The information sequence is given by the information source to the channel encoder. There may be a source encoder. Then followed by that channel encoder, there is a modulator. After modulation like ASK, FSK, PSK, we modulate the signal and given to the channel. Some noise will be added there, interference signal will be there. Goes to the demodulator and channel decoder and source decoder. And finally, we get back the original data. These are the components of a digital communication system. Now, spread spectrum digital communication system. So, what exactly the additional things we have is, the one is the PN sequence pattern generator. This pattern generator, PN sequence generator, can be a LFSR, linear feedback shift register, or it can be any method wherein we generate pseudo-random digital data. And this pseudo-random digital data, whatever we generate, will have a very large bandwidth, and when these information signals are given or multiplied with this pseudo-random sequence generator, the bandwidth will be expanded. So this PN pattern generator or a PN sequence generator, we have to use both at the transmitter side and the receiver side, and both should be generating the same sequence to get back the original data in the receiver. If this PN pattern is different than this, then it is impossible to decode the data or to get back the original data. That is the advantage of PN sequence pseudo-random generators and spread spectrum technique in general is. So, and one more requirement actually in the digital communication system by using spread spectrum method is this pseudo-random pattern generator should be synchronized in the time. That means whatever the PN pattern it is generating at the particular instant of time here in the transmitter, and the PN pattern generated at the receiver should be same or in sync. Then only it is possible to get back the original data. Now here we have a modulator. This modulator can be either PSK modulation, or as I mentioned over here, it can be a PSK modulator or maybe a FSK modulator. Wherever it is possible to maintain the phase coherence between the transmitter and the receiver carrier, in that case you can go for a PSK modulation. If it is not possible to maintain the phase coherence, then you can go for a FSK modulation. Now in this case, what exactly we do is, say we, by using this PN pattern generator, say I am using a PSK modulator over here. The modulator is a PSK modulator. So what exactly they are doing there is, depending on the PN pattern, a pseudo-random pattern, pseudo-randomly the phase of the carrier is actually changed depending on the PN value, the pseudo-random pattern generator output. So pseudo-randomly you are going to change the phase of the signal. So the phase is not fixed. It is going to change according to the PN pattern. That is called DSSS method. In the DSSS, we change the phase of the carrier signal proportional to the PN pattern. In case of FSK, say M array FSK, where M is more than 2. In that case, we are going to change the frequency of the carrier proportional to the PN pattern. Depending on the PN value over here, we switch between number of frequencies, or we hop between the number of frequencies. The carrier will not have a same frequency. The carrier frequency is actually changed or hopped in this particular method. That's why it is called frequency hopping spread spectrum technique. So we use the same pattern and we get back the original data. So this is the simple model of a spread spectrum digital communication system. Now I will explain the first method, that is direct sequence spread spectrum. So same diagram can be used to explain the concept, the block diagram. So how exactly we generate or we exactly convert a low bandwidth signal into a very large bandwidth signal. That is how we have, that's what we have to understand now. Now, in this method, the direct sequence spread spectrum, just look at this waveform representation. Here, I have a V of t, I have C of t, the second one, and the third one is the multiplication of these two signals. The multiplication of these two will generate a V of t into C of t. That is the spreaded signal. That is the spreaded signal. Now, V of t is my original digital signal, V of t. This is having a bit time duration of or the width of TB seconds, that is called bit interval, and that 1 by R is given by TB, that is the bit rate. Assuming that my information source is generating the information at the rate of R bits per second, that is the bit rate. So TB is given by 1 by R. Now, again assume that the bandwidth of the channel is actually is equal to BC hertz. BC is the channel bandwidth. And usually the channel bandwidth should be more than the bit rate, or the bit rate at the rate at which we generate the bits in the information source should be always less than the channel bandwidth. Otherwise, more interference effect will happen. So now what exactly we are doing here is we are actually changing the bandwidth of this R hertz of bandwidth into a very large bandwidth of W hertz. So how exactly we are doing this? We are changing or shifting between the number of carrier frequencies, and hence the bandwidth is actually increased to W hertz. This W hertz depends on C of t. The bit interval of this C of t, see this C of t is actually called as chips or PN signal. It is a pseudo random signal what we have generated earlier by using that PN pattern generator. This PN pattern generator or that LFSR, what I quote usually, will have, say, the number of bits in that output of the PN generator. It depends on the number of memory elements. As you know, that n is equal to, the number of bits is actually equal to, it is 2 power m minus 1. So where m is the number of elements. Where is m is number of elements. So if m is equal to 3, n will be 8. If m is equal to 4, n is equal to 16. So depending on those, say within the one particular bit interval, you should have all the bits of that PN pattern generator, n number of bits. If I say m is 3, n is equal to 8. So we should have 8 bits over here within the bit interval, 1 bit interval. Remember, this is 1 bit. Say it is 1. All these signals are represented in the polar format. +1 or -1 is the amplitude of these signals, say both V of t and C of t. So this V of t, this is 1 bit, 1, 0 and 1. This is given by the information source. Within that bit interval, I have all the n number of bits of the PN pattern generator, which is having a time duration or a time interval of TC seconds. And each bit, so there are, say, 8 bits. 8 bits I have because of m equal to 3. Memory elements equal to 3. So 8 bits multiplied with this single bit. This is what I'll get. Now here, I said this is TC interval. It's called chip interval. What is chip? Chip is nothing but it is the one bit. Each bit of this PN pattern, C of t or a PN signal is called chip. And the interval of each chip is called as chip duration or chip interval, chip time, whatever you can say. Now when you multiply this signal with this signal, I'll get this signal. Just see here, +1, +1, it is +1. -1, +1, it is -1. So whenever it is -1, the phase is changed by 180 degree. Right? It is +1, +1, it is +1. If it is -1, somewhere I say it is -1, -1, it is +1. A simple multiplication of these two will be the signal. So we are going to transmit. So this signal is given to the PSK modulator in case of DSSS, direct sequence spread spectrum, and the phase of that carrier is changed pseudo randomly. Depending on these bits, the phase is changed now, not depending on this one single bit. It is depending on these bits so many times, that many times we are going to change the phase. So the bandwidth is expanded. Why the bandwidth is expanded? Because 1 by Tc is W. That is the bandwidth of this C of t. What is the bandwidth of this multiplied signal? The bandwidth of the multiplied signal is 1 by Tc. Right? This signal, the chip interval of this and this time duration actually matches. Within this bit interval, I have so many bits. So instead of transmitting 1 bit here, I am transmitting so many bits, n number of bits. So bandwidth, obviously, the bandwidth required to transmit the signal is huge, large. So bandwidth is expanded. That is the purpose of using the spread spectrum. Spectrum is spreaded over the large bandwidth, you can say, right? Now just see the equation here. The information signal, this V of t is given by summation an gt of t minus ntb. This is simple representation of yes square wave or rectangular wave signal, where this gt of t is a basic pulse shape used, and it is repeating for every tb seconds. Every tb seconds it is repeating with a magnitude equal to an. This an can be plus 1 or minus 1, right? And what is c of t? C of t is also a rectangular pulse with the p of t. P of t is a rectangular pulse, you can say. It is repeating at every tc seconds. For n tc or tc seconds it is repeating again, right? And this cn is either plus 1 or minus 1. It's a polar representation, right? So when these two are multiplied, I'll get a output signal, that is v of t multiplied by c of t. So the output signal is multiplied by this and this. Now as I told earlier, I have to change the phase of the signal. So what we can do is, so this signal v of t and c of t, it can be given to a simple amplitude modulator, which is having a carrier of, I'm telling amplitude carrier, amplitude modulation. I'm telling amplitude modulation, not PSK, but in turn, indirectly, it will generate the PSK. I'll tell you about that. Now see, this V of t and C of t is given to the amplitude modulator with a carrier of AC cos 2 pi FCT. What that, again, that's simple multiplication, that's all. So when you multiply this V of t, C of t with a carrier, we get a DSP SC signal, double sideband suppressed carrier signal. A simple multiplication of two signals always will give you the double sideband suppressed carrier signal, as you know earlier, right? So that output of that modulator is nothing but it is AC V of t, C of t cos 2 pi FCT, simple multiplication. So modulated this signal can be represented like this, that V of t, C of t is eliminated over here. AC cos 2 pi FCT plus theta of t. What is the meaning of this? V of t, C of t will be either equal to, this product is either equal to plus 1 or minus 1. So that means this signal or u of t is either plus or minus 1 AC cos 2 pi FCT. Either plus AC cos 2 pi FCT or minus AC cos 2 pi FCT. That means the phase is changed by, either the phase is not changed or the phase is changed by 180 degree. Whenever the signal is minus, the phase is changed because minus 1 is multiplied there. Whenever the signal is plus 1, the phase is not changed. It's a PSK signal, right? So we can say that this signal u of t, u of t is written as AC cos 2 pi FCT plus theta of t, where theta of t will be either plus pi or minus pi depending on V of t and C of t. So if V of t, C of t is 1, then this will be theta of t will be 0 degree. If V of t and C of t is minus 1, theta of t is pi radians or 180 degree out of phase. Now just look at this. I represented this in the time domain here. A multiplication of these two will give you this signal, a spreaded signal in the frequency domain, V of f, C of f. That means this signal and this signal, in the frequency domain it is represented, low pass signals, both are. This is having a wide time duration, so 1 by Tc, small time duration, it's a low pass. So while both are convolution in the frequency domain, because multiplication in the time domain is convolution in the frequency domain. So this is what I'll get. So see the spectrum here, it's the frequency axis, the spectrum is expanded. The spectrum is expanded, so that's the spectrum, right? Now here, this is basically about direct sequence spread spectrum. A simple multiplication of a large wide bandwidth C of t with a small bandwidth original signal, information signal V of t will give you U of t, which is C of t into V of t. So more commonly we use one term in the spread spectrum, that is called processing gain. What is processing gain is denoted as LC. Processing gain is given by, it is TB by TC. The ratio of TB to TC is nothing but it is the processing gain. It actually indicates what is the amount of spreading happened in the spreaded signal. Okay, this is about direct sequence spread spectrum. Now we modulated signal, we got this particular signal now, or maybe this signal we got after modulating, and also by PSK technique we got this particular signal. From that signal, from this signal again we have to get back the original signal, original data, that is your V of t. How to generate or how to demodulate the DSSS. This is the simple block diagram. As I told earlier, we have to have a same PN pattern generated in the receiver also. This is the received signal, let us say R of t, which should be equal to U of t. but some interference will happen. The unauthorized persons will try to jam your signal maybe. So we have to avoid that. Right? So I get a R of t as the received signal. I multiply that with C of t, the same PN pattern generator. So when I multiply this U of t, or which is equal to R of t, let us say this signal with C of t. This is the transmitted signal multiplied with C of t. What I'll get? C of t multiplied by C of t is C square of t. And remember, C square of t, C square of t, C of t, C square of t. C of t is plus 1 or minus 1. C square of t is always, it is positive amplitude, plus 1 only, right? So C square of t here will be plus 1 only. So this is removed. So I can get AC V of t cos 2 pi FCT. AC V of t cos 2 pi FCT. Now what is the meaning of this? By multiplying this C of t with the received signal, the spreaded signal is now despreaded. The impact of that C of t is removed here. Just look at this equation. There is no C of t. I got a AC V of t cos 2 pi FCT. A simple carrier, a analog carrier multiplied with P of t. It is V of t AC cos 2 pi FCT is nothing but it is the PSK signal, right? So if I use a PSK demodulator, I will get back V of t. So I have this correlator, a multiplier followed by a integrator, which is nothing but it is a PSK demodulator. So this signal is given to the PSK demodulator, then sampled at every say some sampling intervals. I get back V of t. So this is how the signal is recovered back, and that V of t will have a bandwidth of around R hertz, 1 by TP seconds. So this is about the model diagram of a DSSS, and later I explained about the first method, that is direct sequence spectrum, how to modulate and how to demodulate the signal. In the next video, I will explain what is the impact of this jamming, what is the meaning of jamming margin, and related parameters in the DSSS. Thank you for watching this video.